After the trade for offensive guard and center Ryan Bates, which Chicago had to ship off a 5th-round pick for, Chicago is only left with 5 picks at the moment. Yes, 2 are within the top 10, 1 being the number 1 overall pick, but 5 picks in the draft when you're trying to rebuild will not address our needs, and we're low-key strapped for cap like I did in my last episode. $57.7 million is cool and all, but you have to put $12 to $14 million away for your rookies, and that now leaves you with about $43.7 million. So we need more picks, and to meet both sides on the number 1 trade back battle, whether we keep the number 1 or trade it back or trade back number 9, I'll do 2 scenarios for you guys: trading back the number 1 and trading back the number 9. Hello everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Today I am going to do trade backs with the number 1 and number 9 overall pick, and going to see which one you guys prefer. And before I begin today's show, if you think we should trade back either of the picks in this upcoming draft, I think that's a good way to put things. Make sure to hit the like button on this video, comment which one you prefer to do after this video, or just write a bear down in the comment section below if you're excited for the Chicago Bears offseason. And please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm less than 250 away from 14,000. Let's get to the channel to 14,000 before the beginning of free agency on March 13th. I really appreciate your guys' support. So let's start with trading back the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, the higher valued pick, likely to be used for a guy like Caleb Williams. Teams are going to be calling to move up to get their quarterback of the future. So one of those teams being the Washington Commanders, who sit at number 2 at the moment. They have a ton of draft capital, and they're just shipping everybody off, creating a ton of cap, having over $100 million cap at the moment for themselves, and they have a ton of draft capital. If they trade more of their players away, it could work out for a team that, like the Chicago Bears, and for the Washington Commanders, who can go out in free agency and address a lot of their needs. So what am I doing today? I am trading back that number 1 overall pick with the Commanders because I know 6 other teams are going to be calling for it, offering hauls. I mean, absolute hauls, king ransom packages in order for that number 1 pick. And Washington's going to have to do the same. And I'm accepting for the number 1 pick, the number 2, the number 36, the number 67, defensive tackle Jonathan Allen, who has a $21.5 million cap hit and a 25-second. They will pay up for Caleb Williams, knowing there are tons of other teams that will do the same. They will now have well over $100 million in cap after getting rid of Jonathan Allen. The Bears can still afford him and still have well over $20 million in cap left to sign a lot of depth pieces, and it's a strong rebuild for the Commanders. They still have picks, they still have next year's first, and they can go out and get some strong veterans to surround from Caleb Williams. But I'm not done trading back with that number 1 overall pick, because now it's the number 2. If I'm Ryan Poles, I am then trading back with the New England Patriots because teams are still going to be calling for a guy like Drake May, or I guess JJ McCarthy is really flying up the chart, and they're going to have to send a haul as well, which I would get for the number 2 pick, number 3, number 34, number 104, a 25 first. We need that. We love having multiple first in a year. A 25 third and a 26 second. In a way, the Patriots are going to have to pay more. Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Marvin Harrison Jr., all those guys will still be available, and teams will be calling the Bears to move up to number 2. They're still going to have to give up a lot. Sure, give or take, get rid of number 104 or that 26 second. But they're still going to have to give up a lot in order to get that. Patriots also have $91 million in cap this upcoming offseason. They're going to be able to build their team for whoever they draft through free agency. It could be a win-win for them as well. Bears get a lot more capital, and overall is good for both teams. Trading back the number 1, it gives me 4 more picks this year, 3 of them being within the first and third round, or second and third round, more picks in 25 and 2026, and a defensive tackle, almost all pro, and in my opinion is, in Jonathan Allen for multiple years, as he has 3 years left on his contract. So now that I've done number 1, let's go over to number 2, which is trading back the number 9 pick. And honestly, we could still get a lot for it. We're not going to get as much, but we could still get a couple more picks this year. Trading back to number 9 is only going to get us picks this year, maybe another pick in the later year, which I'll go into in a second. So the first one I am doing with the number 9 pick is I am trading back with NFC North rival, the Minnesota Vikings, and sending the number 9 to them for number 11, number 42, and a 25 fourth. the Vikings need to get a top quarterback talent, and it could be gone in those next 2 picks. Minnesota doesn't want to take the risk. They want to make Justin Jefferson happy if they don't bring back Kirk Cousins. They want to give him a quarterback that can throw him the ball, and there's a lot. And honestly, I think like a guy like Michael Penix Jr. or even Bo Nix will be available at 9, and the Vikings can go out and get him. The Bears now get a second pick from them and also a pick next year. But I'm not done, because I'm still going to ship off that number 11 pick because I want more picks still. I only got 1 more this year. And this, I'm going to trade back the number 11 with the New Orleans Saints for number 14, number 45. Pretty much all I'm going to get, but I'm still getting another second rounder. You could still get a top wide receiver like Brian Thomas Jr. at 14 for your quarterback Caleb Williams if you don't trade back that number 1. And also, if you guys watched my cap recap yesterday where I brought in some free agents, I already assigned edge. So overall, the Bears could make a move like this or even get an edge in the second round. Because after all that, the Bears do get 2 extra picks in 24, both being second rounders, and an extra 1 in 25 being a 4th rounder. You get half the picks here, but it's a much less valued pick. But both are second rounders. You can go out and still get a top wide receiver. You can go out and still get an edge. You can get a defensive tackle. You can get a lot of players in that situation. But just something to think about. Both are very valuable trade backs, and I think that the Bears do need to get more capital. Now, I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Would you do the number 1 overall pick trade back, or would you do the number 9? I know a lot of people who want Caleb Williams are going to want to keep the number 1 and still get a lot for number 9, and the people that want to stick with Justin Fields are going to want to trade back that number 1. I want to see where you guys are standing at the moment after, especially knowing that we don't have as much cap. We need draft capital, guys. That's all I'm going to say. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. Please hit the like button on this video, comment your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But with that, thank you for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rhodey, and as always, bear down, baby.